A film that is not only rooted in a place which is very troubled, very much ignored, and very unrepresented in India, my homeland, Manipur.
अपने बच्चों के भविष्य को सुनिश्चित करें और मैं आज आपको वादा करता हूं मैं आपके साथ हूं।
We pray that no conflict is ever formidable enough to destroy the one superpower that all of us have as human beings, that is forgiveness.
Cinema transcends you to a moment that, at times, do not really belong to you personally. But for a change, there is this cinema that would transcend you to a moment that everyone has failed to realize in the past so many years. A moment that ideally should have made us talking, not now, but in 2023. A moment that should have shattered us, not now, but in 2023. A moment that should have shaken our conscience, not now, but in 2023. And a moment that should have woken us up, not now, but in 2023, as Manipur erupted in violence in May 2023. We all know by now, Manipuri language film Boong won big at BAFTA for the first time in Indian cinema's history. And I say very consciously, Indian cinema's history. A film won this category, Child and Family Award, and that too at BAFTA.
Slightly sticky BAFTA goes to Boong.
Kurumjari, greetings to everyone. The walk up till here felt like the last few steps to reach a summit of a mountain we never knew we were climbing in the first place. Just want to use this opportunity to say that we pray for peace to return to Manipur. We pray that all the internally displaced children, including the child actors in the film, regain their joy, their innocence, and their dream once again. We pray that no conflict is ever formidable enough to destroy the one superpower that all of us have as human beings, that is forgiveness.
How does it sound? An Indian film? How does it sound to feel the pride from deep inside that an Indian film has won this big award? And today, that same Indian film had tried looking back into the eyes of India to question, where were you? Where were you when we were suffering? You don't win a Nobel for knowing what really happened in Manipur, but you can definitely win an Oscar for feigning ignorance, claiming that you never knew what happened in Manipur. Today, while a Manipuri language film makes India proud, at the same time, it's deeply personal for many like us who have covered Manipur from the ground to look back and question our own hindsight. How much of this pride is without a pain? And that's exactly what had resonated in the acknowledgement speech of Lakshmipriya Devi, the filmmaker.
A film that is not only rooted in a place which is very troubled, very much ignored, and very unrepresented in India, my homeland, Manipur.
Very interestingly, India has a fantastic habit. And when I say India, it's mostly the Indian media. When Manipur was burning, they barely spoke about it. When Prime Minister went to Manipur after 2 years, they celebrated it. I'm talking about the mainstream media. That same mainstream media, almost following the same pattern, today had celebrated Farhan Akhtar's movie Wins Big for India. Well, Farhan Akhtar was never alone. He's just a producer. Ritesh Sidhwani is also a co-producer, and the film did not belong to them. The film equally belonged to Manipur, to the director, Lakshmipriya Devi. But then this pattern has always been the pattern in the so-called legacy media, create hawa. So much so that the real story stays submerged. But not today. Lakshmipriya Devi's words broke several hearts, brought back memories of Manipur. And this humble appeal for peace is nothing but a shame that we have to live with for the rest of our lives. How much our own very Manipur has endured and how much we have failed to heal a broken land.
Just want to use this opportunity to say that we pray for peace to return to Manipur.
She says, a land very troubled, very much ignored, and very underrepresented.
In a place which is very troubled, very much ignored, and very unrepresented in India, my homeland, Manipur.
This is NTT. We have never cared for the populist stand as much as we celebrate the success of Manipur. Today, we have also been showing the suffering of Manipur since 2023. And thus, when we have shown you the suffering, we will also show the success of Manipur. Why you know? Because if the success of Manipuri film belongs to India, the suffering of Manipur equally belong to India. Manipur was simply not underrepresented. Manipur was misrepresented, as if nothing happened. Can you imagine? More than 260 people have lost their lives in a violence which had engulfed an entire land, broken it into two halves, and it all being represented as a dispute between two communities. Is it that simple? Or there is something so deeper? How can a problem flare up to a point that it would turn neighbors against each other? Have you ever cared to ponder about it? No one did. Manipur stayed up in flames for almost 2 years. More than 260 people have lost their lives, and mind it, that's the last account given by Union Home Minister back in 2023 on the floor of our parliament, and thereafter absolute conspicuous silence. Let's put it like this: meticulously planned silence. The government claimed 60,000 people have lost their homes, are internally displaced. 60,000, that's the number given back in August 2023. But violence continued after that. Many people have lost their lives after that. Has the government ever cared to give us any number as how many people have gone back to their homes? If the broken land is now united? You know what you see behind me is my office. A small little humble office. We have put up these pictures. They are memories that construct us. These memories which were there in houses after houses, which have been burnt, demolished, and reduced to ashes. Do you realize the pain of losing something so personal? This is our office, yet these pictures are so dear to us. They form the memory for us. And those memories were crushed. People have lost their memories. Children have lost their childhood. Children are born in refugee camps, in relief centers, and unsure as when they would go back. Yet, we needed a film to talk about it. Yet, we needed a film to look back to 2023 and see how far we have come. I show you how far we have come. In September last year, when the Prime Minister had gone to Manipur, he held 2 meetings, one in Churachandpur, other in Imphal. Yes, 2 meetings in one land. Itself a testimony of a broken land and a validation coming from none other than from the Prime Minister, who visited that land after 2 years, more than 2 years. Many would question, what difference does it make? Yes, it makes a lot of difference. If you are the Prime Minister and if your party says you are the father of every individual in this country, then in crisis, in hour of crisis, everybody wants the father by their side. That did not happen. Conspiracy theories were floated, and when nothing worked out, there was absolute blanket silence put up by mainstream media.
मैं आप सभी के लिए एक और खुशखबरी लेकर आया हूं। हमारी सरकार चाहती है आपकी बचत बढ़े, आपका जीवन और आसान बने, इसलिए अब सरकार ने जीएसटी को बहुत कम कर दिया है।
Roads, nobody can threaten the life of my citizens, my people. They will be accessible. If the Prime Minister says that, like 3 words in his speech, rather than talking about GST and Nepal, he has never acknowledged the crisis. As if it is his game plan to divide the state on communal lines.
Have you ever realized how many elections have happened in this country since 2023? How many elections have happened? You had Lok Sabha election. You had assembly elections after elections in so many states. Elections can happen in this country. That's democracy. And the same democracy could not rescue our own Manipur. That's also a point. That is also a point. Ahead of Lok Sabha election, Union Home Minister Amit Shah goes to Manipur and says, Manipur ke mitra hai aap, Narendra Modi ji. Narendra Modi ji, mitra hai. ऐसा मित्र होता है जो आपके दुख के घड़ी में आपके साथी ना हो. And this is not my question, not my apprehension. I came across women pregnant who have given birth inside a relief center with tears in their eyes had questioned, this country has president, prime minister, so many chief ministers, so many leaders, opposition leaders, everyone put together, yet could not rescue Manipur. That's the hard fact. That is the hard fact.
30 days or 20 days, I think, Amit Shah, he came to Manipur and he didn't do anything. He went back. He didn't say anything about this war. We, the peoples of Manipur, we call that the peoples of Manipur is Manipuri. We are Manipuri. Kuki also Manipuri. Maitai also Manipuri. We are Manipuri. We can stay here together. I want to go back to my village. I want to stay in my home. This is not my home relief camp. We all want to take risk in the home in this time, especially for the women. No house, no home. How can we take risk?
When the Prime Minister went to Manipur after so many months, I again visited a camp, and you know what I found? I found children surviving on burnt rice. Yes.
फ़िलहाल हूँ मैं चूराचांदपुर में और एक तस्वीर दिखाना चाहूँगा मेरे देश को. मेरा देश विश्व में चौथी इकोनॉमी है. गर्व की बात है, बहुत बड़ी गर्व की बात है. जापान को ओवरटेक किया जून 2025 में. लेकिन एक चीज़ जो हम लोग अभी तक ओवरटेक नहीं कर पाए मई 2023 से, वो है मणिपुर की हालत. और ये है मणिपुर की हालत. जिस जगह पे हम हैं वो है एक रिलीफ सेंटर, और बच्चे जला हुआ चावल और बची हुई दाल इसी से अपनी भूख मिटा रहे हैं. यह है सच्चाई बहुतों के लिए. रिलीफ सेंटर में शायद आपके लिए, आपके नसीब में चावल, दाल, रोटी, पालक, पनीर, नॉन वेज, मछली, चिकन, बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. लेकिन इनके लिए यह है हकीकत आज डिनर का. जिनके नसीब में दाल और चावल हुआ वो तो लेके चले गए, और जो लेट हो गए, जैसे ये बच्चे खेलने में जुटे हुए थे, ये अभी भी मुस्कुरा रहे हैं. लेकिन खा क्या रहे हैं? जला हुआ चावल और बचा हुआ दाल और कुछ नहीं. आप जानते जला हुआ चावल कैसे दिखता है? यह है सच्चाई, बहुत सारी सच्चाई में से एक मेरी चौथी इकोनॉमी की. क्या नाम है बेटा आपका? What's your name? What's your name? Huh? Amor?
Amor.
Why are you eating this? I don't want to tarnish the image of my country. I don't intend to. ये मेरा भी देश है, ये देश मेरा भी है. लेकिन सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज़, ये भी हमारे देश के लोग हैं, ये भी हमारे देश के वासी है. और इनकी कहानी, इनकी सच्चाई लोगों तक पहुंचाना हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। प्रधानमंत्री आ रहे हैं मणिपुर में, बहुत बढ़िया चीज़ है, लेकिन देश के लोगों को ये भी देखना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम लोग बहुत जल्द भूल जाते हैं और जब तक इनकी जीवन में वो सुधार ना आए, शायद भूलना सही नहीं होगा। मेरे देश को चौथी इकोनॉमी है हमारी, और बच्चे यहाँ पे जले हुए चावल खा रहे हैं। हाँ,
Interestingly, Prime Minister Modi today has put out a post on X congratulating the filmmakers, congratulating the film. Of course, he should. But you only wish and pray he had put out one post after the violence broke out. We wish and pray that he had put out one post on X appealing people to maintain peace. We wish and pray that he had spoken out on Manipur when his voice was needed the most. We wish and pray. Many would say that this too was another opportunity lost by the Prime Minister. How much this would have hurt him, harmed him, had he just added one line to that congratulatory message that we hereby appeal for both the sides or every community to come together and heal each other. How much that would have hurt the legacy of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Yet he did not. At times, more than the celebration, what matters is the moral testimony of a moment. Yes, while this award could simply be a matter of celebration, a cause for celebration for India and Indian cinema, but thanks to Lakshmipriya Devi, she made this a moment of moral testimony. Don't stop at criticizing Veer Das for two Indias. Welcome to Manipur and live two Indias. Probably the criticism will then sound bit too personal. Today, when Lakshmipriya Devi urges for peace and forgiveness, she is simply telling our world that there is a land, her homeland, that is still waiting for that healing. A peace which is still oblivious, and a healing that is yet to happen. In that appeal for forgiveness, she is letting the world know we do exist. We existed back in 2023. We still exist. And we can exist better. If not can forget the past, we can exist better if you acknowledge our pain. Because only when you acknowledge the pain can the pain be addressed and be healed. Children after children are still languishing inside relief centers. Incidentally, this movie also talks about children in a fractured state, trying to come to terms with life, unite, find reason to be happy. Exactly what children in Manipur are dealing with, the worst casualties of this violence. Women have been violated. India stayed silent. Children are now living in a relief center, mistaking that to be their home. India stayed silent. But today, when a Manipuri film won big for India, India celebrated. And you know what? Every time I say India, 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 I don't want to mean that India failed Manipur. No, absolutely not. India never failed Manipur. Because India is all about Indians. And trust you me when I say this. In 2023, after the violence broke out in Manipur, there was an India Alliance meeting in Patna, the first meeting, and I had gone to cover that. And I was talking to people at the roadside eatery, and they did ask me about Manipur, did question the government on its failure in controlling the violence in Manipur. In Bihar, that too in a couple of months since the violence began. Violence began in the month of May, and this meeting happened in June, in less than 30 days. So yes, Indians did not fail Manipur. Indians only saw the suffering as India's suffering, because Manipur is India and India is Manipur. Probably some biological humans decided to stay quiet. But Indians never failed Manipur. Indians were simply helpless. Indians had elected government and sent people to power, only hoping that power would be controlling our lives and changing things for better. Unfortunately, in over 2 years, Manipur stayed the same. Yes, there had been a precedent's rule. Yes, the spate of violence had come down. But many wonder, was it a natural progression or a result of government's intervention? Because many had been saying that if they had been meted with a step-brotherly treatment and left on their own, as if the government wanted people to get fed up of violence and give it up. Till date, there is no government acknowledgement as where have all these arms and ammunitions come from. Till date, there is no acknowledgement as how government's own armory was looted. Till date, there is no fresh figure as how many Indians we have lost. And yet, today, we are talking about a film which is in Manipuri language. I wish we can only speak about the film, but as Lakshmipriya Devi has rightly said, Manipur as a land is very troubled, very much ignored. There was an additional stress, very much ignored and very underrepresented. Let's hope and pray. The bad is over and Indians heal India, that is Manipur. Thank you so much.